Hello and welcome to Late to the Party. I am your host, Jason. I'm joined by my brother caveman, Isaac, and Jose, our fearless leader, Nate the Great, and our two great contributors, collaborators, and just all around great people, the Scots. Yeah, there they are. Today we are reviewing the 2005 film Capote. This is directed by Bennett Miller, and it's a biographical film that follows the events surrounding the writing of Truman Capote's true crime novel, In Cold Blood. It stars Philip Seymore Hoffman, and it had a budget of $7 million. It ended up making $50 million at the box office. Highly acclaimed, highly awarded. In fact, there's too many award nominations to even get into. So let's just start it off. Isaac, what did you think of this movie's casting?
I thought it was really good, like they really did a good job filling in the Capote role. It was just so good, and everybody's part was so good, so fabulous.
Excellent. I agree.
It's sad because like now Seymour Hoffman's gone, and he was such an inspiration.
He really committed to that role.
Definitely, 100%.
Nice. What did you guys think of Harper Lee?
Me? She was really good. She's a great actress. I like that actress a lot. So it was perfect choice for her. Everybody's role was fantastic.
Perfect. Nice. All right. Moving right along. Liz,
Yes.
True crime stories. Are they a little bit on the more exploitive side of things, or are we kind of looking into something that needs to be told?
It's funny you should bring that up because I just got done watching a couple of I'm watching some true crime documentaries on some of the streaming services right now. One on the Night Stalker and one on the Cecil Hotel. I think that they should be told, but they have to be told by the right people. Obviously Capote was trying to sensationalize himself through something different, through this true crime thing. And he was all about what he wanted to do. And I don't think, I think people got lost as to what actually happened and, the law proceedings and things like that, and the people that it actually affected. I just think they were focused, and he was focused more on how this was going to make him the next big writer. But yeah, I think that true crime stories should be told. I mean, people want to know what happened. Sometimes it's a tale to figure out what not to do in the future. Lock your doors so the Night Stalker doesn't get you, and check things out that way. But if they're done for the right reasons by the right people, and the facts are given and not emotion being put into it, I think that they're good. It's a good genre.
Nice. Well, kind of piggybacking on that, I guess. Josh, it seemed like the Capote and Perry Smith, one of the killers, kind of shared a little bit of some childhood traumas and maybe a similar upbringing. Do you think that led to like him portraying the killers in a more empathetic way?
Probably. I think so. A lot of this depends on how accurate the film is in terms of conveying what actually took place between Capote and Smith. I don't know that it's inaccurate in any way, and assuming that it is, I think Capote found a kindred spirit and was fascinated with why Smith's life turned to petty crime and eventually murder, and his own led him into being a world-renowned author. So I think that he probably, at least the way that it portrays it in the film, he had some fascination with those characters in that way. I did a little reading into it. I don't think he treated the other killer in a very favorable way. at least not as much as he did with Smith. There was a lot of, I had to do a little bit of background reading after watching this film, because there was a lot of questions I had afterward. And just to go back to talking about Harper Lee for a minute, I couldn't help, but every time she showed up, I was waiting for Steve Carroll to show up from the 40-Year-Old Virgin, and for for them to start singing Age of Aquarius. It just kept popping into my mind while I was watching this film. But anyway.
Oh man, that would have lightened things up a little bit. Nate, knowing that, so In Cold Blood was Capote's final novel. He never wrote another novel after that. And Philip Seymore Hoffman died shortly after filming this. Does that kind of change the impact of the story? And maybe does that story have a negative impact in their untimely deaths?
I mean, whenever somebody dies and they're stars or people from the spotlight, their last work is always looked on pretty fondly. Sometimes deservedly so, and sometimes it just gets that rep because people almost feel, whether or not it's conscious or not, they feel obligated out of respect for the dead to give that. I went onto YouTube and I watched like a whole bunch of Capote's interviews. I saw him getting interviewed by, which is crazy because they don't interview authors now, but Johnny Carson, he's sitting up there with Ed McMahon and Johnny Carson, while Johnny Carson's smoking a cigarette and talking to him. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the real Capote, but Philip Seymore Hoffman really nailed not only the voice, but his mannerisms and all that stuff. He did a solid job on it. So I think in this case it did. I don't know about, Capote did according to the research. I was similar to Josh. I did a little bit of research afterwards, and he maybe spent 20 or 30 years. He didn't quit writing altogether. He just quit writing novels, and he did get into some trouble because he was throwing some other famous people under the bus in articles and Esquire and whatnot. So he was still kind of going out there and stirring the pot. And it seemed like his MO, like he did feel genuinely bad for lying about what he was doing with those killers and their story as he was publishing it. It seemed like he felt bad while he was with them. And then as soon as it benefited him in his career, he's like, oh, they need to die. So it depended on, what mood he was in and what room he was in, how he felt. And, it doesn't mean that one way that he felt was right or wrong, and it is possible to feel both. You can love and hate somebody at the same time. You can love two people at the same time. It's possible. So, I think he was conflicted in that, and it probably did haunt him for the rest of his life for sure.
No doubt. Okay, this next one, I'm gonna start it off with Jose, and then I'd kind of like to hear everyone's thoughts on this, because I think it's the question that has to be asked when you watch a film like this, and it's should we have a death penalty?
Now, why you gotta ask me that one?
Even the hard one.
That is a hard one. That God, man, it's tough because I would then return by asking, is it even effective? Because we still have crime, we still have people murdering other people.
I mean, I personally think it's especially effective, but
How so?
it may be the more efficient option.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. If you're gonna murder somebody, expect to be murdered.
Yeah, but they don't. Where I'm thinking about it is how much money goes into that. Like, we're paying for that eventually, and there's millions and I mean, there's study after study and research and they've released papers that it costs millions of dollars to put somebody on death row. You know,
That's
with lengthy
justice.
appeals processes and
Jose, you always go back to the $4.99 from DC.
Yeah. Don't put them on the road. Just put them straight to it. Fucking express
I think
right to death.
I'm with you somewhat, Isaac, and I'll let Josh. My first instincts go biblical, and Josh is more of an expert on that than I am. So when he gets his turn, I'm sure he'll have a better answer than I would on that. But I am with you in the sense that have a fast lane like they do in Texas. But I'm also like, in order to get into the fast lane, they have to have really, really solid evidence. Like if they got some flimsy stuff, I think if you accidentally put one innocent person to death out of 1,000, it's a failure. So they got to have it solid. If it's solid, if they got it, if it's not like some sheriff from Double Knitsville trying to make his name on putting to death a Mexican guy that raped a white girl in a town where the Mexican guy never was, or something like that, you know, crap like that happens, then I'm not for it. But it's got to be like solid. So the appeals process, it does help, you know, shine a light on whatever evidence. But, you know, if they got like a video, like when you watch TV and they're chasing a guy with a helicopter driving a car in a high-speed chase, and they're like, the suspect, like, nah, that's the guy. We see him in the car on TV live running. He's not a suspect. Now, if they catch somebody down the street with red gloves on and lady says she got robbed by a red glove guy, they might have to put some pieces together. But when you see it, it's not a suspect. So I think you have to weigh the evidence, in my opinion. Life's precious.
Agreed.
Question to the death penalty. Yeah. I believe in the death penalty for sure. And mostly because it's biblical for certain crimes. But yeah, if you're guilty, the reason why, you know, it costs so much is because of the appeals process, of this, of that. It's yeah, you know, you did the time, you're found guilty of your crime. 12 people found you guilty of that crime. Then with, you know, you should be dead. If the death penalty is there, you should die. And that's all there is to it. And justice delay is not justice. And that's where I think it happens a lot, is that we want to give them too many opportunities, too many chances, too many this, too many that. And that doesn't go with the fact that they committed these crimes. In this movie, he admitted he committed these crimes. Even in the novel, in the book, if you're to believe what Capote wrote, he just decided, nope, I'm going to go ahead and just do this thing. And now he needs to suffer the consequences for it, whether or not his lawyers were good at the beginning or not, and the appeals process and all that stuff.
Right.
He did it, and he admitted to doing it. And once you admitted to doing it, you're dead. That's all there is to it.
Definitely. Well, I guess we could spin it then a little bit, because Perry Smith admitted to shooting everyone and being the main killer. So, but both Dick and Perry were put to death. Does being in the house and being part of the crime earn a death sentence for Dick as well?
I think if you run out of the house and go tell the cops, yo, we were trying to rob these people and my homie went crazy and killed them, I ain't part of that. Put me in jail for robbing, but I'm coming here, right now. I didn't do it. I don't want nothing to do with that. Take me away for the robbery right now. This motherfucker's crazy. Then no. But if they go on a killing spree together or running around trying to do other stuff, then you're part of it.
That seems fair.
And that does happen more often than you think. Like people will turn on each other and be like, no, I'm not part of the murdering. I was just robbing. You know, they'll be quick to strike a deal. And I've seen it, I've heard about it happening like right away. It's like, it's like you said, Nate, like immediately, almost after. I mean, sometimes they're the ones that even called. It's like, listen, this happened, but I am not a part of. What do I got to do? Do I need a lawyer immediately? What? Because I'm not a killer. So
it's interesting. Josh, you want to pipe in or?
Sure. No, I also don't want to wax too long on it because I could probably do that pretty easy. But so just to talk about whether or not the death penalty is something that's worthwhile. God prescribes the death penalty for anyone that takes a man's life unjustly. There's provisions in the law of God for accidental death, but when it comes to the intentional taking of someone's life, if there's two or more witnesses to the event, and witnesses doesn't necessarily mean eyeballs on the event, it can be video, it can be, other types of evidence, DNA left behind, those would all qualify. That type of a crime is so heinous that it demands life. And the reason is because every human being is made in God's image, and to destroy an image bearer of God is an affront to God himself. And that type of thing requires the offender's blood, because no restoration can be made possible in that kind of a scenario. And as for the cost of our death penalty system in the States, such as it is, that the cost has more to do with mismanagement than the process itself. I kind of doubt that the hanging that was applied to the two criminals in cold blood, I doubt the hanging was very expensive. You're talking about rope and probably to pay a few people to be the ones to do the deed, but it's an inexpensive process. Where we get gummed up is the fact that our justice system doesn't really uphold justice anymore.
Interesting. I'm personally undecided. I can see we have so many issues with our criminal justice system. I feel like there are so many people who are wrongly imprisoned, so it's very difficult to go ahead and condemn anyone. But maybe in an ideal world, but that's not where we're at. So unfortunately, I can't make a judgment call. But with all that heaviness out of the way, let's get down to the buckets. Caveman, you want to start it off?
I give it 8 buckets. It was enjoyable, great story, great acting. 8.
8. Nice. Josue.
Yeah, I was actually, I was 8 buckets myself. It wasn't epic in any way. It made almost as much money as Napoleon Dynamite but it had more of a budget. No, truth be told, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It made me think. But I think it's just that, it's one of those movies you get recommended by a good friend to watch, and then that's pretty much it. You kind of move on from it. I know Nate was saying earlier, you put a certain level of respect because it was Dustin Hoffman's last movie prior to passing away, but I didn't know that.
Philip Seymore Hoffman, not Dustin.
Oh, sorry, Philip Seymore. Philip Seymore Hoffman. Sorry.
I don't know that it was his last movie, because wasn't he in the damn Hunger Games?
That's why
I
didn't know that.
It was one of his last, for sure.
Okay, yeah. See, I didn't know that.
I think he had one come out after this.
Yeah, and truth be told, it didn't change my opinion of it. Like, it's still a really good movie, but it's not epic, and it's not, like oh my god, everybody's got to watch this movie sort of deal. So I'll give it a solid 8.
Nice. Scotts, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm in the 8 bucket area. It was enjoyable. It was interesting because I have read In Cold Blood, but I never saw the movie about it or anything like that. So it was interesting to see his thoughts behind it, and just, I don't know. The book was really good. It was, it's funny that it's a true crime novel. So that means he did take some liberty with some stuff. But I never realized what a kind of a jerk Capote was. You know, just he was a real piece of work, but you know, yeah, 8 buckets. It was enjoyable. Will I go back and watch it again? Probably not, but it was still good for the movie that it was and how it portrayed everything.
Yeah, definitely I'm going to go with 8 buckets. I think the only category where I don't think we can make any definitive thing is what kind of forward effect it had on this type of movie in Hollywood. If we were going to talk about the book, then I think we could definitely make that claim. But since we're talking here just about the movie's rendition of the writing of the book, you know, this has to be evaluated just on the content of the movie, and I think it hits all the markers on Nate's list. So it's definitely an 8 bucket.
Nice. Nate.
I'm gonna go with the solid 8 too. I think the acting was spot on. The casting was amazing. The story was cool, and this isn't, you know, like you guys got an idea of the kind of movies that I like to watch, and this isn't really. I really try to stay away from nonfiction stuff because life and the world in certain places is bleak enough as it is. So whenever I'm going to watch a movie, I'm trying to escape that and go into the sci-fi, fantasy, and, you know, comedy, horror. That's always the angle I always go to. So I do like this show, and I was talking about this earlier before we chimed in about how since we rotate the hosts, it's every 6 weeks it's a completely different show, and it seems like we had enough of these going to where everybody has their own flavor that they're doing. And you know, I like the lane you're going with it, Lego. So keep it up, man.
Thanks, dude. Thanks. It's an 8 for me as well. It's a solid movie. Nothing really wrong with it, but as far as effect, not really there, like moving forward. So I think we're all in agreement. It's a solid, good movie, well acted, well directed, but maybe didn't have the impact that some of these other films we've watched have. So thank you everyone out there for joining us for Late to the Party. By the time this airs, you will have already joined us on our first ever live stream. Thank you to those 1,000 subs. We appreciate you guys so much. And we're going to keep bringing great content just like this. So until then, I am Jason.
You forgot to hand the baton, man.
Oh, my goodness. I did.
Look, you hurt
Wow.
Isaac's feelings.
Well then, all right.
He's like, I'm out.
He muted
Never
himself.
mind. Unthank you to those 1,000 subs. We don't care about you. The baton, I believe, is being passed to Isaac. Swoop. There it goes.
Well, thank you
What do you
very
got for
much,
us,
Mr.
buddy?
Lego. That was an awesome show. Thank you. Well, this I've got a comedy. I'm gonna go with comedy. That was a pretty heavy, pretty
Right?
serious, and
Napoleon Dynamite to the death
I wanna
penalty.
go to- I'm gonna go to some fun. Going with comedy. I've got 4 movies for you to pick.
Ooh.
I've got Coming
Ooh.
to America, 1988. Dazed and Confused, 1993. Major League, 1989. Or 1982 Zapped with Scott Baio.
Oh my God, Zach.
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused from Nate.
I don't know. I want to see Joe Boo.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see Coming to America because they're doing a sequel to it.
Well, Coming to America from the Scots.
Well, from me, I don't know. About
Yeah,
yours.
I've never seen Coming to America.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
God, it was the Jose moment.
And has Jose seen Coming to America?
I haven't, so let's watch
So
it.
that's 3 for Coming to America.
Let's do
I
it.
came to America, but I never seen somebody else coming to America. So
Oh, you're in for a treat. You get to see Eddie Murphy with his father Mufasa. I mean Darth Vader. I mean, so join us next week where we watch Coming to America. And for late to the party, I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jose.
I'm Liz.
And Josh.
And I'm Nate. I'm depressed after that movie.
And thank you so much to our 1,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome.
Thank you
1,000.
guys. We love you.
Couldn't do this without people actually watching.
Ruh,
it.
ruh.
And we love the interaction, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.